Hello everybody, Brian Engelman here at 2019 NAMM in Anaheim, California. I'm with Andy Morris. Andy is the owner of Dream Cymbals, and he's going to take a few minutes to show us what he brought here to NAMM with us. Andy, thank you so much for taking a few minutes of your time.
Hey Brian, pleasure to be here with you and at the NAMM show. It's a bit loud and crazy here, but you know, this show just pumps us up. We love being here. So many cool people, so many great products. And all our friends and family are here, so let's do it.
It's a family. You know what? I was trying to guess 23 or 24 of these. I lost track, but it's like an extended family reunion. That's a great way to put it.
Oh, totally. I have NAMM friends who are like really close, but I only see them at NAMM and maybe Mesa and maybe Shanghai. 3 times a year, where we always make a point. Let's go and have a beer or a cup of coffee, and how are the kids and what's going on in your life, right? We're also going to find a trade show where you can be 5 feet away from Stevie Wonder laying down some new licks, or you know, at a bar watching ZZ Top play. I've seen so many great performances here over the years, and sometimes they happen spontaneously, right behind your back. Music is what's really driving us and everyone here, so that's why we're here. Everybody at Dream is a musician. We're all percussionists and drummers, and that's really important to us.
Well, I'm a drummer as well. Our cameraman Mike is a drummer as well, and we love I love the look of this. Like the industrial kind of steampunk kind of Mad Max style upcycled thing. Tell me about what your company has as a vision. What causes you to put out the products you put out?
Sound. Everything for us is about sound. So when we're making a cymbal, we only make B20 cymbals because that's what makes the best sound. Every instrument we make has to be a real musical instrument. It has to speak from really easily and be really loud and really soft, and then be expressive and have a range and not be a one-trick pony. You know, it's my voice coming out of the cymbal. I'm trying to express myself, so everything we make has to have some of that. Now these little steampunk babies, for example, come from one of my favorite first inventions, which is the Bliss or Contact 24-inch small bell flat, which is a really great cymbal. We came out early on in our careers, like 10, 11 years ago. So as we were celebrating our 10th year, which we're just finishing now, I said, let's do something special with our first real baby. And I did a hand patina finish on all of them. So we did 150 limited edition serialized hand finished cymbals.
So what does this? Is this choppers full of an acid bath? Is this copper reacting oxidation?
Yeah, it's all of the above. So there's this one probably has 7 or 8 different solutions of different kinds. Sometimes it's like grains of what looks like salt. Sometimes it's something in a spray bottle or some slop. And we heat them up a bit and get artistic with it. Sometimes we never know how it's going to come out. But it also creates a very drier cymbal, obviously, because there's a bit more surface stuff on it. And they're very complex and they're beautiful to look at, but they sound amazing too. You just get that. You can ride on this baby all day long. Like if I'm playing a piano gig, piano trio, it's like this cymbal and a pair of hi-hats and a vintage Bliss 17, and I'm a happy guy. That's it.
You playing this, it's bright, yep. It's powerful, and it's muted.
Yeah.
You get the brightness, you get the power, and it's muted. So it punches you, but it's not... Yeah. You know, washing over, ringing out. I mean, it's a heavy hit with little aftertaste.
Yeah. There's very little wash, right? So you get that stick. But it's not like playing a flat ride, which is kind of clangy all the time, right? Because it's not focused. They have to have a bell to put a little bit of focus in them around the physics. I love this cymbal. I play it like that's one of our top sellers, the flat ride, our small bell flat. Our most expensive cymbal is still under $500. Okay. $479.
I'm digging this, man. Like it's reasonable is what I'm saying.
It is. It's not a cheap product, right. But they're inexpensive because we want musicians to be able to afford them, and we want you to have a bunch. You know, I would rather sell you 5 cymbals than one really expensive cymbal.
Okay, well, that's a good segue. Instead of us talking about one cymbal all day, show us a few more. What else do you want to show us?
So the Dark Matter series is our kind of another really unique thing to Dream that we invented. We took regular cymbal. This used to be a really shiny cymbal, almost like that, without all the stuff on it, and we put it back in the oven and we recooked it. And when I did it the first time, everyone at the back were like, that's a really stupid idea. But they let me do it, and they sucked. Like, they were horrible. nothing. So I thought, okay, they were right, bad idea. But I came back a few months later and picked it up and went, oh, it needed to age because the double tempering of putting it in the fire twice, so much tension in the cymbal that it had to sort of mature like a wine.
It needs time in the barrel. It needs time to just kind of work through the complexities of what it is. So you're saying it sucked, but it didn't really suck, but you can't eat the cake until it settles. Like you got to let it cool down or whatever.
Yep, that's exactly it, man. So these actually, the production process is about 3 months for these. And 2 of those months, sitting around just aging.
You know, someone told me with gardening, and I think it applies in a lot of areas, there are no gardening mistakes, there are only gardening experiments. And I love that. Because we're all just throwing seeds into dirt and seeing what happens, whether you're making cymbals or anything in life.
Look, musicians and drummers especially are inventors, they're experimenters, they love it, right?
Let me hear a few of these if we could kind of...
There's Dark Man of Flat Earth. So this is our grizzled old wizened Yoda on top of the mountain.
Yoda's a good way to say it. Yeah.
I'll show you the babies. This is the Bliss series and the Vintage Bliss series, characterized by a micro lathing finish, fairly thin cymbals, known and respected for their incredible responsiveness, very warm, very dark, very luscious, and very responsive. Just with my fingers. Babies, you know, we love them. Well, you should hear them in the studio. Because that's when this becomes true, when you get to hear it back in the context of great microphones, or even just not even great microphones. Just these babies record so well. Everything we make, because that's our philosophy. Every cymbal has to have a broad harmonic spectrum. It can't have just hot spots. You know, sometimes you get other kinds of cymbals, you hit it, and it's like, oh, that's a B flat. You know, like that. Where you crash it and it goes, psh, you know, like that's a fail for us. It doesn't pass. We don't do that because it has to have that, and as it decays, the lows and the mids and the highs have to decay at the same rate. Equally, right? Otherwise, you get that sort of nail on the chalkboard thing, right? Because the lows disappear and you're just left with this kind of shrill thing or a note, you know, a pitch. Yeah. Here's our heaviest Bliss, Gorilla Ride, and it's a heavy beast. Like, that's a big, thick cymbal. It's got big hammer marks in it. Dry and it's articulate. It's got a meaty bell. Ways to work with that cymbal to keep that quality of I can play it quietly and it speaks. Because you get the hit, you know that it's a ting, but it doesn't linger there. It gives you 5%, 10% ting. I don't know what this is. And then it's just warmth and power. So it's like you get the best of both. It's like when you set the EQ in your stereo. I like the high ends, I like the mid, you know, we all have our preference. When I'm playing a ride cymbal, they gotta hear the time. They gotta hear the rhythm. But if it just sounds like that, that's not musical. It needs a wash underneath it that's supporting the chords, that blends your sound in with the rest of the band. So we have to find a wash that has lots of harmonic spectrum, that's not in the way of the stick in a good ride cymbal. And the number of cymbals I've sold to bass players, because they go, I need my drummer to play that cymbal, because that's in my ear all night, and I want to hear that. Bass players also have a real sensitivity to whose territory are you occupying, right? If your kick drum's too boomy, they get pissed, right? Because that's their turf, and it messes where they're trying to hear it. And so I've learned a lot. I've worked with some great bass players. They've taught me a lot about territory and blend. And if you hear the whole band, your cymbals and your drums have to fit with what they're doing. And if you're either overpowering their territory or masking their territory, then you're fighting each other. You're not working together. So the wash can't be in one key. The cymbal can't be in one key unless you're going to change cymbals every tune.
Tell everybody where they can find you online, social media, all that stuff.
Right, so visit www.dreamcymbals.com, Facebook, dreamcymbals.facebook, is that how that works?
You know, you just search.
You'll find us. We're on all channels. You'll hear us on a bunch of podcasts around the country as well, and we're a fine organization as well.